You've been knocked off. Yeah.
Yeah, but not by the stuff we talk about, by, any opinion that's not mainstream. I mean, they really just want to remove it all. And I still know this is just getting old, huh? All right, so we're live streaming.
Yeah, you've been knocked off. Yeah.
Yeah, but not by the stuff we talk about. There we go. All right, and dismiss. And now I'm going to start the recording. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host and researcher, Louisa. Today is Friday, September 20th, 2024. This is GoldFish Report number 1114, and it's our Food for the Soul series report with psychic medium Mark Christopher Nelson and his lovely wife, Barb. How are you? Welcome back. Good to see
Hey,
you.
we're glad to be back. We're
Glad to be back.
had a couple of
Yeah.
weeks away, and now we're ready to talk and explore.
That's great. Yeah, well, we had a lot to talk. We have a lot to talk about as we were just discovering before we started to go live. Just so everybody knows, if you're looking for the Goldfish Report on Telegram, you're probably not going to find it. I'm going to screen share what has happened, I think, since the CEO of Telegram was arrested. I think the condition of his bail was that he was to agree to make changes, or to his release, was that he would agree to make censorship changes. So let's take a look real quick before we really get into everything. Hold on. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. We're going to take a look at the Telegram page. And you're going to see that you can see it says Goldfish Report right here, but it should be right here in the top, in the left column.
Mhm.
And instead, what you see is archive chats for the Goldfish Report. So they seemingly have removed Goldfish Report from Telegram. So get ready, everybody, because I know I'm not going to be the only one. This is just, the recent developments with the CEO of Telegram being arrested, and I think part of his a condition for release was to censor. And I did hear that in the news. So I mean, what the heck? I just don't even understand what's going on with this. So anyway, why is it hidden? I don't understand. Hide, unhide. Ooh, well, I just lost that.
Ooh.
All right, well, let's just move on. I can't
Yes.
unhide it now. Oh man. Well, everybody, it's another day in the life of the Goldfish Report where we're being censored again. And honestly, everybody, I mean, for 9 years I've been doing this. So we just had our ninth anniversary in August. So and I can finally, thank you. Yeah, and I can finally say that, I see I need to see more people like getting mad. There needs to
Hmm.
be more people that have to accept the fact that everything is compromised. All the government's compromised, all the courts are compromised, all the universities are compromised. It's all compromised. All of it. All of it.
Justice Department, why are people not being put in jail? Why are investigations being curtailed to only low-level people like this P. Diddy investigation? The idea that he's the highest level person involved in this, it strikes me as completely wrong and dishonest.
He's not. He just recorded everything. So he's like so this is how it works. So Epstein did the blackmail, the pedophilia, trafficking, blackmail for the politicians.
Hmm.
P. Diddy was the counterpart for Hollywood, and well, actually
Right.
the music industry,
Yeah.
particularly the rap industry.
Hmm.
And then there was Richard Branson. From what I have from my research, okay, this is my research. You don't have to believe it, but you can research it on your own. To our viewers, that Richard Branson apparently dealt with the royalty, who were all involved in the. So they're all really quite on the same playing field. Um, but I think what's going to come from this P. Diddy thing is what people aren't expecting and what they're not ready for. And that is, you don't get to these places of power without paying a price. And
Hmm.
I mean, without selling your soul. There's nobody. I mean, they're all inverts.
Hmm.
They're all inverts. They're all born a particular gender. And then in utero, what they do is they inject the hormone of the opposite sex so that they grow. I mean, and this is how they're born. This is what they do. So they're because their god is a transgender goat, you see, and that's why they do that. And that's why they're pushing this mutilation, this genitalia mutilation on our children. So
Yes.
I don't know what it's going to take for people to really become mad as hell and not take it anymore. I really don't know. I don't know, but I guess we're going to find out. But I had reported this years ago that this was a plan to get everybody to stand up and fight. Okay. No, our freedom is not free. Every
No.
generation has to ensure
Right,
that our freedom is that we maintain our freedom. And if
right.
we're not doing it, and so, look, and I hate to get political or anything like that. Me,
You,
of
you.
all people. But, this is the reality that we're dealing with regard to stuff that's going on in the world. And I really wasn't going to get into this because it's not a political report. But
Mhm.
I did just find out I was removed off a Telegram tonight, like a few minutes before we started the program. So it's news that I have to report about GoldFish reports. So whatever, however I hid that, I'll have to find a way to get that back. But
It's a spiritual battle, is really what it is. I mean,
It
yes,
is.
it's you can say on one hand it's politics, but I feel like that they're the enemy, Satan, whoever you care to describe him, whatever you care to describe as.
mm,
It's also to people in very high places and some on their way up. They do sell their souls. I mean, I wonder. It's like, I mean, Barb and I have talks when we were think, who could possibly, take a child's life? Who could do this regularly? Who could sell someone's
mm,
body, and then act like you just, did nothing? It's like, how do you treat taking a child's life or taking their humanity like you're ordering a cheeseburger or pizza?
Right.
Remember Pizzagate? I mean,
Yeah.
how does this happen? How do these misshapen human beings, if they are in fact human, start to take control, take power? One thing I do, Barbara and I have both run into this in our work, is that where we become very conscious of like, this isn't just an ordinary, a haunting, or it isn't, person in spirit. There's something evil associated with this.
There's an intelligence.
And there's an energy to
Yeah.
it.
interesting. I mean, interesting, yeah. Well, and before we started tonight, we were also talking about the fact that I had to put my cat down. So I was and it wasn't like cut and dry either. Of course, we had to have the veterinarians try to sell us every darn kind of package there was. Oh, well, you can have this commemorative paw print and all this other stuff and the ashes and this, and or you can have, a private burial and do all this. And I'm like, no, no,
Yes.
I'm not doing any of this.
Yes.
And I mean, it just have to, trying to sell us, burial packages while we're there to have the cat euthanized. Are you
Yeah.
crazy?
Yeah.
I just,
Don't miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, one of
yeah.
the things that
A
you were,
very
I mean,
emotional
we feel,
moment.
my heart goes
Yeah.
out to you who lost a companion that had been with you, but 20 years, almost 20 years,
Oh, her? No, no, I'm not sure. I would say um, maybe about 9 years.
regardless,
Yeah,
still 9
yeah,
years. And
It's a
it's,
family member.
yeah,
like a pet that grew up with your kids. And that was, this little animal was part of their upbringing.
yeah,
Now, one of the things too that we were talking about, it's like so many people in the United States don't know how to contend with the idea of death, of
yeah,
passage. We have
yeah.
a gazillion ways to describe it because I think on one hand, we're really afraid of it. On the other hand, we don't understand it. And so I feel like that there's so much fear associated with it.
Yeah, and I have an example, like, I was there for my dad and my mom, as they were passing. And, but my sister, she went with me when my mom was passing, but she had never been, you know. And, you know, my mom, she had a harder passing than my dad because she had a stroke and then she was in a coma, and she, between the 2 days we were there, her she just, you could see on the second day she wasn't there. Her spirit was barely, you know,
Yeah.
probably hovering above the body. And so my sister, she was like, she couldn't touch my mom. I mean, the whole time I was holding my mom's hand, I was, you know, stroking her head, you know, her hair. And my sister was totally afraid to touch her, you know, and I'm like, you know, it's okay, Jan. You know,
Not getting what she has.
mom is, well, and she's still with us. You know, it's just, you know, it's not the way you think, you know. And she was like traumatized. And I wasn't afraid, because mostly because of what Mark has taught me and what we've been through. And, you know, just learning that this body is a shell. When they're still here on earth, they can still hear you. You know, that's probably the last sense to go, is hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would talk to her. And so my sister had a very different approach to it than I did. I was comfortable with it. And I knew my mom, I already saw people in the room, her friends, her family. It's like, there's going to be a reunion. And so, and the same thing with my dad. So people handle death and grief so differently, just based on their experiences. I'm lucky to have Mark to help me with this.
Right.
You know, we both were there. I was there as your dad was passing. You were gone, but so anyway, what I'm saying is, it's like, um, I I I didn't, you know, feel anything wrong that my sister was a little more hesitant, you know. I gave my mom a hug, you know, and she kissed her goodbye. That was a big deal, you know.
Mhm.
But it was like, people do, like you said, some people are afraid of it, but it's like we're all gonna go through this passage, and that's really what it is. It's a passage.
Mhm.
And so, and I did say to my mom, in her ear, I said, "Mom, it's okay to go. You can let go now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be okay." And her message to me after she had passed was, um, "I knew it was time to go." That's what she said. So she knew, yeah, it's time to go. And
It's
so she heard
sorry.
me. She
Mhm.
must have heard me. So
It's just tough when like you have to be the one to make the decision to pull the plug or to
Mm-hmm.
do the euthanasia or whatever. I mean, that is a hellish decision to make. It is difficult. And you know, you were right, because there's guilt involved in that. But
mm,
you're right that, let's just say in the United States, I mean, this is viewed all over the world until for now, at the moment. We'll see.
right,
Maybe it
right.
isn't. I don't know. Um, but this is the problem, at least with our culture in the United States, is that we don't handle death very well because we don't have a good way to look at it. We don't understand it,
Right,
like you said.
right.
We don't understand enough about our life to even understand enough about our death,
Yeah.
honestly,
Right.
right? What do we really know about life? I mean, that's the question. Like, why are we here subjected to an experiment gone awry, or whatever people call it? It's
Hmm.
referred to in a number of ways. And it's a bad situation. It's not good. This is like the underworld here. And so we need to get out of it by good behavior and earning our way out. I suppose it's a
Well,
prison.
one thing, who controls what we hear and see about death? Is it
Exactly.
legacy media? Is it Hollywood? Is it perhaps a minister, maybe not. Um, the thing is that everyone is trying their best, and some are trying the opposite of their best,
Yeah.
to figure out what is it. I mean, Hollywood has given us a gazillion ideas of what it's like. I'm thinking they're batting about 1% or less. How about 1/10 of 1%? It seems like occasionally someone, approaches what I would, in just my opinion,
Mhm.
is more accurate, you know. But the one thing I would just remind everybody, regardless of your faith, is that I want you to consider the idea that consciousness survives the body. And what that means after you pass, we come into this world with the soul. I think we come into this world with the sole purpose. Many faiths seem to accept the idea that we have a spiritual being that's within us. I absolutely see it. And it's just, I see it. I mean, every reading gives me some other, view as to what people are like on the other side, what's happening on the other side. It's not just dirt. We're not just taking a big dirt nap, to be crude.
No,
It's
no.
nothing like that.
So you're saying consciousness has what? What did you say? What was that quote?
Survives the body.
Consciousness
No,
survives the body.
right, but okay, so right, I don't know. I thought you had said something else. Hold on.
And again, what that means is that after I pass, I'm still going to have my conscious being,
Yeah.
after my body is off somewhere else. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes to if you lose a son, a wife, a mother, a
Mm-hmm.
father, their consciousness still
A
comes to us.
friend.
A friend,
Yeah.
all
Mm-hmm.
of the above. I mean, they all come to you. And that, because of our state of grief, we're struggling, we can't we're having trouble hearing messages. Some of us hear them more easily than others.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just,
And also too, you're you're connected to your loved ones. You're still connected to your mom and dad. Your energy is a part of them. They will always be a part of you. And so just the thought, just thinking of them, they'll be around you,
Mm-hmm.
and so that doesn't stop. See, people, here's the misconception that, oh, you die, that's it, it's final, and that's it. That's why people grieve. They cry for themselves being, lost somebody. They're really grieving for their own self, and that they'll miss them, that, oh, they're not here, But I want to say, yeah, they are here. They're still here. They're with you. They're inside of you. They're with your energy. That doesn't stop. It
Mm-hmm.
goes beyond the body.
I mean, it's a part of the human condition is this pair bonding and bonding, not just pair bonding as a pair, as a husband and wife, but bonding. And we bond deeply with people and animals. And that's what
Mhm.
we grieve for sure,
Right.
is the loss of that love, and that bond is the loss of that bond, which is a very strong,
I
I mean, I
know.
don't think there's any stronger bond than love, is there?
no, and also too,
No.
um, your kitty knew that she was loved. I mean, that there's they it goes above. I mean, if you were just feeding some stray cat, you would get like a certain level of, oh, thanks. But your kitty is, when they look into your eyes, your pet, they see you, they sense you, they feel what you're going. Just,
Mhm.
I absolutely believe that they sense things about us. They
Oh, yeah.
seem to know when we're coming home. They seem to know. It's like if Barbara and I are even thinking about taking, I'm going to spell this for everyone. Our dog is in the room, a WALK. They're like, he's like, oh, what? So he's got a vocabulary. He's got, I think more than that, he's locked into what we think. So we only have to even like so much as think about it, and he's wagging his tail, ready to roll.
I actually saw a really interesting little blurb on when a dog and their owner connect eyes, like you're really looking at, and they're looking at you, you're actually kind of mind melding. And it's like, oh, that makes sense, when
Well,
you're
at least, well, it's a one-way mind meld. I don't know if I really get many messages from my cat, but I
No,
know,
but supposedly you're sinking your spirit or energy or
Mm.
something that you're connecting with
And
this
it goes,
Well,
other.
it's quantum entanglement, though. I mean, you do get entangled
Yeah.
in quantum on the quantum level, and so it's just that like we were saying, like we don't have a healthy way of, we should say, living, let alone dying, right? Like
Right.
everybody
Right.
says, rest in peace. Well, why can't we live in peace? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know, why don't we wish each other to live in peace, not just die in peace? I mean, for goodness sakes. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. Look, we have a couple messages. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay.
Could we take a look at the messages?
Yeah.
Is that good? Okay, let's take a look. We have Heidi is just saying hello, and she said she went through many times already, like, and this decision's very hard on unfortunately. Sunny is back, Sunny McLaughlin.
yep.
She says could we hear from Mark on his feelings regarding the upcoming election, the swamp, and these assassination attempts? Thank you. Okay, that's a second question, so that's good.
Okay, well, I
Mhm.
can fire away on um my prediction is that it's going to be I do think Trump is going to win. I do think that there's going to be conflict and fighting because when people are no longer being paid to be quiet and good,
Right.
they're going to fight. And
Mhm.
I have urged and told a number of people, be
Mhm.
conscious of plans that take around election and
Mhm.
after. I think it's going to probably be worse after when there's
Mhm.
a millions of people who feel like that they may be pushed away and they won't like it, so they may turn violent. The other thing too is I really hate to say it, but I do call me a conspiracy theorist, but I see it. I'm not just sitting at home in my basement watching this and that. I feel it that we're going to see isolated fighting in certain places. And I do feel like there are such things as sleeper cells. If you think I'm crazy and I'm off the deep end, then that's okay. I don't need you, but I would ask you to be conscious of where you are at certain points. That said, too, if you're in an environment, you're in a city where you're not as familiar, or you're traveling, be very conscious of your surroundings. If something doesn't feel right, act on that knowledge. People want to
Right.
shove these feelings down. If you feel like this doesn't feel right, there's something wrong here. We call it our spidey sense. It's our intuition. It's our guides.
Mhm.
Whatever you're
Mhm.
comfortable with calling it, recognize it and say, all right, you know what, we should really, even if, you know what, Barbara and I have made a choice where it's like, I don't know that we should be there. And then even if the event turns out to be peaceful, I want to pay attention to how I'm feeling and
Yeah.
what might or might have, just because something didn't happen doesn't mean
Right.
that there wasn't a great potential for something bad to occur.
Well, just because you didn't find out something happened doesn't
Yeah,
mean, like what happened at this last Trump, well, not the last one, but the one in Arizona,
Arizona.
where apparently
Wow.
a lot of people were, um, I don't know, hit with a
Sprayed or
sonic
something.
weapon or some
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
weapon, probably microwave. I mean, I've had it happen to me when they were complaining about their eyes. I'll show you a picture, but it's going to take me a minute to find it.
I do believe it too, that I think that there would be another
Was it like a
assassination
burn?
attempt.
Some kind
Yeah,
of burn or
yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah. There was a burn. Yeah.
Wow.
And the
Read
idea
notice,
So
that
that could
Mac.
be a chemical attack or a microwave attack.
It's microwave.
You
It's
know,
microwave. Mhm.
this had happened to Michelle Obama or Joe
Or
Biden,
Exact.
what would have happened?
Excellent question.
It's worth discussing. And how would people have reacted?
oh yeah, if there had been an assassination attempt on Joe
Mhm.
Biden
No,
or Kamala or something.
yeah.
Oh, it's a crazy MAGA person.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
all right. It's just they had it coming or
Mm.
some. And
Wow.
I reject. I mean, people also too. There are too many people that are very comfortable with labeling someone, say MAGA or whatever they
Mm.
deem as a suitable title, so that you can then dehumanize
Right.
or
Yeah.
separate
Mhm.
yourself from
Yeah.
that person.
Right.
Uh,
Turn it down a notch.
that
Yeah.
creates,
Right.
so I would say as the year progresses, be very conscious of surroundings. Try to avoid extensive travel if you're going into a crowded environment. take a look around, see what feels right, what feels to us, what doesn't feel right. Pay attention to it. Plan. You know what? This sounds even more paranoid, but I think it's really practical. If you're in an environment and you don't know it very well, take a moment to look at like where are the exits? Are there more than one exit? I mean, I'm telling you,
Mm,
at a spiritual level, that God,
mm,
the Spirit, the divine, does not want you to be injured in
Right.
spite of the plans of other people. So, what do?
mm,
Exercise some judgment. Pay attention. If something happened here, what would I do? What would I do? I think it's an unfortunate development, but I do believe we need to think in those terms. And it doesn't sound very spiritual, but I pray to God and pass the ammunition. I mean,
Right.
give
Right.
yourself a chance to, I mean, is your incarnation supposed to end because some bad person, has labeled you as less than them? And so they have the moral high ground to hurt, harm, or injure you? That's that's
mm.
not what God, I think, has in mind for us.
Well, unfortunately, it does happen to a lot of people. And I think one of the issues that I've heard a lot of people talk about, like on X, is the actually they're veterinarians talking about it, and they're talking about how the dog food is meant to, make your pet sick. So they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
thinking, like with humans, right? They don't have there's no business in cured healthy humans, right? So they keep us sick, and then sadly, it's probably very true. This is what they're doing, what the story is.
Yes. Well,
Yeah. So Mark, anything else? Like, what about, do you see it quelling? Like, how is it,
oh, yeah. This
I mean,
is not a
ultimately, do you
forever
see us in
war.
martial law? Is that where that's going, or?
I'm not, to be honest, I don't see that. I see it, actually, I do see a period where it's going to require military
Military. Yeah.
action in order to quell certain fighting. There are going to be many people with weapons that don't want to be told where to go, what to do, to leave the
Mm.
country. So I do think that there may be a period of that. Again, um, think about what could you live for a week in your house, 2 weeks? What if you couldn't get out for 2 weeks? What would that look like? What if the
I'd get some rest. I'd finally get some sleep, some rest. I'm sorry. I don't
keeps
Oh,
mean to be making
keeps
a
you
yeah.
joke
food?
about it, but
Yeah.
Electrical. What do you
yeah,
do
exactly.
if you're on insulin? How do you keep it?
Oxygen, right.
How do you do that?
Mm,
Uh, what if you're in a colder climate and it happens in November, December?
right.
Do you have some resources? Because it may not take that long for your body to start to react
Mm,
negatively to these
mm.
difficult environments. So just as a precaution, also too, I really don't, I think that there's a spiritual journey that's attached to being prepared to deal with certain hardships. I mean, I mean, people might equate the idea that I'm going through a spiritual hardship. I'm worried about my mom. I'm worried about
Mm,
my relationship. Um, doesn't the idea that I'm worried about not having enough to eat, I'm worried about whether I can survive three, freezing nights. I
mm.
mean, do you have children? Or do you have friends? Do you have, I mean, so these are just things worth talking about.
Right.
So I would say, the other thing too is like I really do pray a lot. If ever I pray a lot right now. And what is prayer? It's it's manifestation. It's also trying to be in the presence of God. I'm not gonna, whatever if you and in different times of my life, I was at one point I was a gung-ho Christian. Now I'm somewhere off the reservation, but I believe in Christ, but I believe in reincarnation. I believe that God wants us to try to evolve. God wants us to have more of a God consciousness. That so many different things. So I think it's natural for your spiritual beliefs to evolve. So
Well, I have this was interesting. That's why I have firsthand knowledge on this stuff. So I'm going to screen share some pictures of my face to show you that these things can happen.
Oh my gosh.
It
Oh,
was so horrible. This was so horrible. You don't even know how horrible this was. And I was so swollen, like you couldn't even recognize me. Here's a little bit more of a close up. Oh yeah, it was just horrible. Just horrible.
oh my
Yes,
goodness.
that
And
looks.
when my forehead cleared up a little bit, like my eyes, forget it. I mean, how did this happen? This was in the winter time. It's not like
Mhm.
I could say it was a sunburn. The rest of my face was fine, but this was, horrible. And it was
Was that
crazy itching. So this was a burn from the
red?
inside out. It was not a
Yeah.
surface burn.
Oh, wow.
This was not on the surface of my skin. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to show it again just so you can take a quick look at it. And because maybe you can see a little bit clearer. I have lotion, I have cream on it, but
Uh-huh.
you can even see in the other photo. I mean, this stuff here is the peeling of
Yeah.
the,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I have cream on it and it like
Mhm.
cakes. But this is not a topical burn, guys. This is from the inside. My eyes were so red. And, I have developed some more vision issues after this. This
Oh,
was just,
I
yeah,
bet.
it was amazing. So I know, I mean, I've been targeted too. And I know that this is what happens. And
And was that
the
like the
damage
people
on
in Arizona too? Did they have the
I
burn
I
around
don't
their?
know. I haven't seen any photos of them yet.
Oh,
Post rally. But a lot of them are talking about the itching, the eyes. This is exactly what happened to me. The
wow.
itching. They have to have eyes that look like that. There's no way that they could have, because I did hear that it was reported that the doctor diagnosed them with a chemical, what he called a chemical burn. I'm not quite sure it was chemical,
Uh-huh.
because if he said it was a microwave, they'd be like, okay, well, where was there a microwave shooting at us at a Trump rally? So
Yeah.
Right.
that opens another can of worms. So I don't know about that. So I'm just saying I do have some firsthand experience with this stuff. And which
Wow.
direction did it come from? Where did it come from? I don't know. I can't see frequencies
No, you can't see it.
nobody can, right?
Yep.
So I was looking for those photos for a really long time. I'm just glad I found them. Where was that? So let's go over to the live chat and let's see who's there. If there's anybody else with a
One
question.
thing before we do,
Yeah.
I get some messages about people in spirit will show up and say like my mom is here. My mom is watching. I also heard that there was a younger feels like a male, like a child, teen, young person. I heard this person identified with the number 38. 3-8 for sports teams. So if someone has lost a child, a son, somebody that had the number 38, it feels like they show up. I don't know why that is. I also got this visual of someone passing because the car they were in started to slide sideways down a hill into water. So if any of these visuals or these particular forms of passing, please consider it that. And I have another guy that had a very significant wound to the stomach. And so if someone either was stabbed or shot, it feels like there was a puncture of some kind in the stomach. So there, I'm seeing like these people. I mean, it's like almost ridiculous, but they're all showing them, I pass this way. I pass this way. Um, my name is, I hear like a Jimmy. I hear like a kind of a more Levon or LeBron. I mean, LeBron's the basketball player. La something. It feels like that name shows up. So, oh, that, and I also feel like that there's an older person, feels like, someone in like a senior. Um, it feels like male energy passed from a significant, shocking kind of choking incident. This guy looks, white guy, a little bit maybe in his mid 60s, choking, and they couldn't there's always in the movies they always show the little thing in a person's throat being dislodged, but I'm seeing someone passing from a choking incident. So if there's anybody in the chat at some point that can say I know someone like that, I understand that, please raise your hand. If not, I'm happy to look at questions too.
Okay. Oh, oops. I come back. Let's take a look at let's see. So far, you know, because we missed 2 weeks, you know, it might be a little.
That's fine.
People probably didn't know whether we were going to be live tonight or not. So as long as we're more regular, I think we'll probably have
Well,
more
we will
people show
be.
up in the chat. So
We
probably
will be.
would help. Yeah.
Um, you know,
But
one
we'll keep the conversation going. Yeah. Mhm.
Another thing too, it kind of goes back to these people in spirit. It's like their consciousness. How do you know their consciousness survives the body? How do you know, Mark? What proof have you got? Well, I've had readings lately where people. I had one client where this woman had lost her daughter, and the daughter came through and said, "You have I love your new earrings." And this woman had just, it wasn't anyone, I think, listening tonight, not you, Sunny. But I mean, I'm hearing that this woman said that I bought a pair of earrings 4 days ago. I was going to give them to someone else. I fell in love with them. I never took them off. Well, her daughter comes through and says, I love them. They're great for you. So to me, what this means is that the daughter is sitting next to mom. The daughter is right next to mom, can see her earrings. There's no way I would know anything about this. I had another time where this woman was, her husband would wear heavy work boots on at his job. Uh, for the reading, she put his boots on. I was unaware of that. And so the guy goes, and by the way, the boots aren't working for you. It was kind of a jokey way of saying, I see you wearing my boots.
Cool.
So if someone is that close,
Yeah,
uh,
that's cool.
they know what's happening real time,
Hmm.
means they're really there with
Mm,
you. Doesn't mean they're always there. And people ask, oh, am I keeping them here? Am I holding them back? It's like you're not holding anybody back. They can travel, go away from you, come back to you at the speed of thought. Just as you and I can switch, like, what am I doing tonight? I'm going to watch a movie. No, I want some chocolate. Bing, bing, bing. We're all over the place, you know? So just in the same way,
mm,
people in spirit can shift from where I want to be with her to I need to think
mm,
about something to now he's calling me. So there seems to be very little lag time.
mhm,
It's not like you got to get in a car, turn on your email, make sure your phone is charged. All of that stuff is, oh, I love to say too, is that nobody wears watches on the other side. You don't see ghosts. People say, "Hey, look, I brought my watch with me." No,
Mm.
they have all the time in the world, and they don't have any of the time.
Yeah.
Time is irrelevant. So the idea that you think you're holding someone back, it doesn't
mm.
really work like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, these are normal feelings people have. There's so much that that we go through, when you lose somebody, there's so many wish I coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of
Uh-huh.
thing.
Yeah.
That keeps them hanging on too. I think that's just got to let that go, you
I
know?
think about, my father's passing when I was a kid. That was a very juvenile thing. What could I have done to have saved him? Nothing. You were a kid. This was outside of your ability to affect the outcome. You weren't supposed to affect that outcome. This was something that had nothing to do with your choices, your will. This was something that was decided between your father, another, uh, say the murderer, God, whoever made choices, they culminated in his
Mm.
passing. It had nothing, and so the coulda, woulda, shouldas. I mean, it's easy to go there, but it's kind of a painful, if not fruitless exercise. It's like the chances are, I mean, how many people pass? I mean, you know them, Barbara knows them from like crazy if 1 minute had been different, if they hadn't gotten in that car, if that left turn, that truck hadn't come to the intersection, anything like that. So I would encourage people to let go of those things, and I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of saying, gosh, I had just, and in fact, it's kind of affected me where I mean, I do hear about a lot of rather painful passings. It's like, What if I had gotten to my son a moment earlier? Would he have died of a drug overdose? We didn't. But I hear all these things all the time. And it's important just to say, it's like, I accept the fact that my son is okay now. I'll never, or my daughter, but I'll never stop missing them. But I know that on the other side, I'll have an answer that makes more sense, that might assuage some of the pain and suffering that I'm dealing with now. I mean, uh, one thing I can tell you is like, or two things. I'm grateful every morning I wake up, and uncertainty sits on all of our shoulders. So do you belabor that? Do you act in fear? It's fruitless. Enjoy the life each day, and the potential each day brings. I don't know how else to say it. And I talk about death a lot every day, almost when I'm working, but it doesn't mean that I dwell on it. I let go of it. I accept it. I would encourage other people that, there isn't anyone listening tonight who hasn't had a loss, who hasn't had some pain and suffering. Comes with the turf. When you're breathing, there's that potential to be devastated by losing someone. But what do? You try to honor them, and you try to make the most of the fact that, oh, today I'm here and I'm grateful.
We have Sunny asking about whether you have any experience with orbs, and if you do, what can you tell us about them?
Yes. Barbara and I
Oh,
both
they
have,
follow Mark.
They follow him.
We have pictures where they're like all around him, depending on where we were.
yeah, I did a helping parents heal event, and it looked like I was in a bubble factory, where all of these people are on me. It's really interesting. And so, sometimes orbs are just little bits of dust, but when I'm doing readings and I look like I was, in the middle of a bubble bath, it's not accidental, it's real. Did we lose something? I can't hear you,
Yeah, I know. I had to put it on mute for just a second.
but
My my
really,
vent. Yeah, I might
I
need to step over.
okay. Well, I did a reading real briefly in a happy place, a prison once, and I got yeah. And so there are a number of people filming me, and then they see, like, you can't see it, in, like, unless you're looking through a camera,
Mhm.
where these, like, orbs were like right on my face. I have some orbs on my site, and I have pictures of it where I'm
Wow.
doing a reading. My eyes are kind of closed, and there are orbs right on my head, and they're like the size of a bowling ball or bigger.
Mm.
And then they move out of the picture when the reading is done. So to me, it's very validating that there is spirit activity connected to these orbs. And so, and that, like, if I'm talking to a lot of parents in a room, or people in a room who have come expressly to be in touch with their children, their wives, their whoever, sons, daughters, husbands, and the orbs are all around us, there's a reason for that.
Or like sometimes we'll be filming and, we'll have the camera on Mark and he'll say, oh, I just felt something brush past my head. And then we'll see a quick orb just like fly by his ear or something.
It's true. And
That's
So,
interesting because it's energy, right? The orb is
right,
it's
energy. So
energy.
you still
Yes.
feel, or you have a sensation of the energy. See, that's
It's
the
just,
thing that's hard for people, is that we can't interact with that energy the way they did when they were in the physical body. So the question is, that's why I'm saying I don't think we don't have a good understanding of any of this. And this is why I think we should all be mad as hell, because it's all been kept from us. We've been lied to about everything, really, literally everything. And I think it's time that people, I guess part of the suffering that goes on for people who have been down this rabbit hole already is that we can't get out of it. We can't move on. We can't heal and move on because we're waiting for normies who don't want to look at what happened. Oh, that's too uncomfortable for me. Well,
oh
you
yeah,
know what? I didn't even have that choice. Okay. I mean, they
no,
kidnapped my children from me and I did, this is what I'm saying. Like, you're lucky you're getting this courtesy of like as long as you need, right? To wake up. Like, I don't really know how long this is going to go on for. I'm tired of it though. 9 years I've been doing these reports, waking people up, and I don't know if I've woken anybody up. Because there's just so many people who just don't want to confront what's really happening in this world.
Right.
And I understand it's uncomfortable. It is for me, but I didn't have the courtesy of taking my time. So
No,
I think what's going to happen too is you're going to have more people like me who are fed up. We're just done. Get rid of the freaking criminals, arrest them, get them out of here, create the world we want, the society we want. But we
Right.
have to do it. If people are waiting for someone else to do it, it isn't going to happen because it's our responsibility, right? This
yes,
planet, we live here, we're the inhabitants, we need to do it. And it's hard. People, are comfortable. They're afraid. Some are lazy. Some are afraid. I already said that.
Or
Yeah,
misinformed.
yeah, they don't
we
know
are
what to do.
totally misinformed.
Yeah.
That and like so many, if one little thing is true, then what about this other thing that's like it? What about this other thing that's true? What about you're saying everything? Well, we don't usually find in one fell swoop we've been lied to about 100 things. We find out about one, two, three, four. Then it's like, oh shit, like look around. What is happening? That and also too, there's an awful lot of people with vested interest in keeping us from knowing things. Be it someone
Right.
in a
Right.
church. Do you need to step aside for a sec?
No, I think it'll be right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, and it's the priests that have led us all astray. The priests weren't out there helping us in terms of explaining. Well, because then they would have no job. I mean, we don't need a middleman. We don't. The priesthood or the Pharisees. They just keep repeating. And when I'm talking about the Pharisees, well, let me just give you a picture here to show you that there is a history on this planet that we know nothing about.
Hmm.
And it's been removed, it's been destroyed. These wars were in part the reason or the cause of the destruction, because it was the plausible deniability. It was the act of war that destroyed them, rather than some nefarious history that they're trying to hide from the people who live here, so that we don't understand who we truly are and what we're truly doing here.
Mhm.
So I just saw a couple of, I was looking for a few other ones that were very nice pictures of very old buildings and things that, you know, um, were obviously not built by our grandparents. Here's one.
No.
I'm not saying this is like the best one here, but let me just, and so what I'm saying is that there's so much hidden information from us. And
Hmm.
and so here is a New York City building, the Singer Building, 149 Broadway at Liberty Street. This was from 1895. Um, it says here that's odd because the Singer building wasn't allegedly started until 1897.
Hmm?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So that's what happens when
When
you
you lie.
lie. When you
Yeah.
lie and you keep trying to you keep your story straight. This is an ancient building. This is from the
Mm-hmm.
Tatarian, the great Tatarian society that we had. That was it appears, I'm not saying that I, have, seen the scroll that states this, but you just need to know 2 and 2 equals 4, right? To know
Yeah.
that
Right, right.
this is not built by our grandparents. Why aren't we still building like this today? We're not.
No.
So we're building very ugly
There's no
structures
way.
that are not. Well, let me just put it to you this way. These are anodes and cathodes. This utilized the ether, the energy in the ether. There is electricity in the ether, and Tesla discovered it.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And these buildings all have these like antennas or
Oh,
anodes and cathodes because they're a circuit. It's conducting electricity. It's
right, right.
and this has all been hidden from us because of course we would never pay JP Morgan one more damn red penny for any of his electricity if we knew it was free,
Yes.
right? I'm sorry. It's a lot of stories I have here. This guy gets
That's
$10,000
right.
for wrangling 20 pythons. I mean, that's crazy.
Ah,
He's
gee.
got that kind of guts. Let him go for it. But let me just show you a couple more pictures here. Yeah, this whole thing with these batteries, I mean, people should be concerned
Oh my
about whether your
God.
phone is going to become a bomb, whether the battery, I mean,
It
at this point, we
is
should just get rid of all of this
hard.
stuff.
Tesla cars are a bomb.
Oh, you know, they come with that cremation feature, right? And that's at no extra cost. Because you can't put those fires out in those cars.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's a little macabre sense of humor there, but I mean, it was tongue in cheek because it's
we
obvious. Yeah.
Janet and I, my sister and I asked a fireman, how do you put
Where'd
a
it go?
fire out with a
Mm.
Tesla? And he said,
Mm-mm.
sand.
Wait.
They get lots
Yeah.
of sand and put it on the
Oh,
car.
wow, really? I guess
Yeah,
that's the
that's
way
what
to
he
do it.
told us.
That
And
or
then
it's an
so,
enormous amount of water, an enormous,
mhm.
you
I mean,
know,
look at this
That doesn't
beautiful old
Oh,
Castle
yeah.
Combe, England. Let's take a look at this just for a second, because this just,
Looks like Cotswold.
it's so beautiful. And yet, actually, you know what? The music's not screen sharing. That's weird. Hold on. Am I even, can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you. I can't hear
Where
anything
is it?
else.
Castle
It's okay. No,
Cove.
I didn't put that. I didn't put it on. I have a feeling this wasn't recording. Like, I don't know. My sound might not come out that good tonight.
You sound fine
Um,
when you're speaking.
right, but whether or not the recording picked it, I'll see. I'll see. Look how beautiful that is. So quaint.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how that was built.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I mean, these are just things that it's like we have to ask the questions. Here you have a sheriff shooting a judge. I mean, I don't know what the story is about, but I will find out eventually. A
Yeah.
sheriff walks in there, and I guess he was, I don't know. There's several stories out there. I don't know if it's true or not, but
Kentucky.
it looks like the judge was having some affair with his sheriff's daughter. I don't know if that's the
Oh my
case.
God.
Oh, he went in his young daughter too, I guess. And so I think he just whatever.
Got him.
I can't confirm that though. Okay. I don't know that 100% yet. I also heard that they were lovers. I don't know. It's just stupid, but it
Yeah.
is kind of interesting. We'll have to wait and see what happens, what the story is with that. Now, in terms of other, I'm sorry that I'm scrolling. Yeah, this was another picture. This was a Weehawken wagon lift, was a funicular used to lift vehicles from the foot of Hackensack Plank Road
Mm-hmm.
to West Hoboken, now Union City.
Hmm.
So, I mean, these were very old types of technologies that apparently, you know,
And one
this
of the
whole Diddy
right.
thing's going to be a mess. And just so everybody knows, if you did use 23andMe, did you notice every single CEO of this company resigned?
Yes, I
What
saw
is that?
that.
Yeah.
They all resigned when Diddy got arrested. Come on, this is so much
Yeah,
bigger than anybody knows. Yeah, it's
yeah.
huge.
And
Yeah, that
and
he's in prison. Yeah,
evil. This isn't just business. This isn't
yeah.
just corruption. There's,
Sorry, it's in the
the
background.
enemy. When the
Yeah.
enemy gets caught,
Oh,
they
that
do
was
terrible
that
things.
girl.
They do, and that's what they're planning on doing. So, and this is an interesting clip because this was from 2011,
Mm-hmm.
uh, 2011,
Kanye and Jay-Z
and
predicted COVID-19.
so if that was in 2011, then this whole thing was
Yeah, planned.
a pandemic, exactly. So these are the kinds of things. I'm surprised I'm still on X. But here's
Yeah.
another example. This is in Ottawa. This is the Confederation Building. This is a phenomenal Tatarian old world building. I mean, we just don't build them like this anymore. How
Right.
come? And
No.
they are glorious, these buildings, right? And look at that with the copper roofs.
Mm-hmm,
And why did they
mm-hmm.
have a copper roof? I mean, what was that doing, right? And
Yeah.
then so it's look at this beautiful, beautiful architecture. We don't
It
build like
is.
this anymore. Why not, right? And a lot of them took down antennas and things like that and all these things that would, I mean, and of course they destroy it all so that we don't know our history. And I know Jesus said, my people will perish for lack of knowledge. And, this is I guess the problem with the Bible is that it's not detailed enough,
Yeah.
right? Doesn't
Well,
give us
a
enough
lot of it was
information.
edited. A lot of it was like,
Yeah.
it's like we don't need this. Then I do believe that, like, I mean, I was raised Catholic. I hate it's just my opinion, but I think it's possible that the Pope could be corrupt, that apostate is a term I've heard before because of some of the choices. If there are Catholics out there that think I'm not trying to spread rumor, this is out there already, but it's some of the things that this Pope does. And I only bring it up because I don't think the whole of the Catholic Church is a disaster. There's I do feel that it isn't just that Pope. There's an awful lot of corruption throughout
Oh, the
the
bishop.
financial doings and actions and some of
Yeah.
the way, I mean, they're kings on earth. And wasn't Christ
Well,
against kings on earth, I think?
Yeah. How
So
come they don't have to report their taxes? Like the Vatican doesn't have to report it, like,
Well, that's their secret. It's the 501(c)(3) secret. And I do think the Vatican is completely evil.
oh, yeah.
yeah, there's
What
so
I
much
know
here.
about, what I know, what I have discovered in my research, I stopped going to church. I stopped being a Catholic because it's not what we're told it is. And I
Mm-mm.
can't in good faith continue to go there. Receiving the sacrament is literally a sacrifice. It's
Right.
imitating a sacrifice of eating blood and eating a flesh. Even if
Mhm,
it's symbolic, it doesn't matter. So
mhm.
there's a problem here. There is a problem. And
Well,
not only
I
that, but
question,
what it really, now I think on a more local level, I think we have very good intending people who belong to
yes,
the church and they make the church. So in that respect, that's the best part about it is the people
yes.
who come together and want to do right and want to do good things. I mean, I worked at a food
Right.
pantry for 5 years. I brought my kids when they were little to teach them.
Mhm.
There was a lot of people who would come there who needed food. There was, always a need for food. And it's like
I
with all that tax-free money, why is there still poverty? Why is anybody not, why do we have people, veterans homeless on the street? Why isn't
What
the
are they
Catholic
doing with all of that
Charities?
money? What are they doing with 20 centuries of surplus? Are they buying more gold chalices? Are they buying influence? Are they living like kings on earth? It's hard to know. One thing I will tell you is that Barb and I have gone to places where there is potentially, if not demonic, evil energy, and the power of holy water is kind of irrefutable to me.
Mm,
And
And
speaking Latin.
and speaking Latin to prayers of certain
yes,
prayers. So I think that there is power in it, but I don't really want to give money to Catholic charities because I don't know what they're
yeah,
doing with it. And I doubt I'd like
right.
what they're doing with them. So we kind of stopped doing that.
Mm.
So
Well,
it's a hard place.
well, I have let me see. We have some other comments here. So we have Uh, yeah, I hope Jesus comes back soon. You and me both.
Yes.
Um, yeah, okay. Now there were just other comments and stuff. Oh, you get Secret Service, go to the satellite, can look everything. All right, I mean, want to welcome the new viewers who were, right. I think it's true that the bloodline of Jesus is alive, and I think that's what 23 and me were looking for. Well, actually, they were looking for what they call the bastard child. I don't know who that is, but I have heard that reference many times when referring to the what were they looking for?
Yeah.
And yeah, and who is the bastard child? And is this going to be the Mahdi? Is this going to be the Antichrist? Is that who they're looking for? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that right now.
No.
So I think that's it for questions tonight. In the chat, we're at the top of the hour. I know it just went by so fast, so quickly, didn't it?
Mm.
But it's good to see you both again, and I'm, looking forward to seeing you next week. This was one more quick picture while we're doing pictures, just to show you that this was the Traymore Hotel in Atlantic City. I mean, just look at this.
Wow.
Look at
Wow.
this.
Oh my
And that
God.
was destroyed because if we really knew,
Unbelievable.
if we saw how this was built and really knew, we would wonder who did it and why it was there. And we would ask too many questions and then we would get, so, I think that, and so I appreciate the few comments in there who were kind of agreeing with me that we're all kind of fed up and, really want,
And can I say something about that
absolutely.
building?
Yeah.
Back then, architects had to draw. They were artists as well. So every plan and every elevation, every interior, ceiling plan, all of that was hand drawn. Nowadays, they use computers to generate all that.
Mhm.
But back
Yeah.
then, the architects were artists as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, I mean, for that building
Mhm.
I'd love to see the elevations for that,
Mhm.
Mathematics would be mind blowing, and also to just how do you how is a building like that put together? I do believe that there can be lost knowledge.
There,
It is
definitely.
Yeah, and I think that what's great about X right now is that you can at least start having these conversations. Oh, here we go. I don't know if you can hear me. What's good about X is that we can at least start having some of these conversations, but obviously it's only a matter of time before that's gone too. So,
Mhm.
I think that um we'll just all we can do is one day at a time. You
yes,
know, because
yeah,
if you think ahead at the future, we don't know what kind of future to envision.
no, we
And
don't.
I don't like that. I don't like that uncertainty. I'm sure a lot of other people don't either, is to not really be able to predict that, my kids are going to have a future. My kids are going to have, good opportunities when they get out of college, that they could finish college, that
Mhm.
there's,
Yeah,
these are real questions right now.
I don't get shocked by much. I pretty much expect whatever,
Yeah.
the other side says, whatever comes out of their mouth. But
Hmm.
today I heard something that Miss Kay said today, if you know what I mean, Miss Kay. She said, freedom of speech is a privilege. What does that mean? Freedom of speech is a privilege.
And
No,
her demented view of reality. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
it's it's your it's in our Constitution. It's part of your inalienable rights to speak freely.
Unless she is in charge,
Yeah, unless she's in charge. So anyway, that shocked me. I was pretty
a privilege.
shocked about that.
Yeah.
Privileges can be taken away.
That's why she said that. And
Right.
unfortunately, I have to tell you something. It is the truth legally. And the reason it's the truth is because we didn't know this. They hid and kept information from us.
Mhm.
We did not know that by signing an SS5 form, by filling out a social security form and getting a social security card, we
Mm,
exchanged our unalienable or unalienable rights
Hmm.
for benefit privilege in this system of commerce, in admiralty law. Now, admiralty law says that we're not even human beings. We're not even alive. That's why you go into a courtroom and he's wearing black. He's presiding over what either a death or a
mhm.
ship or a corporation. There's other reasons why it's black as well. But my point is that there's a lot of hidden information and they never wanted anybody to figure it out. And there have been many, many smart people that have been, and I would just say extremely dedicated to understanding and figuring this out. And maybe some people were brought here already with that knowledge. So, or
Mhm.
born here so that they knew what to look for. Because how do you even know what to look for? This is how it's
Right.
crazy, right? So I hear what you're saying, Mark, that we're definitely in for some
Turbulence.
turbulence. But Q always said that the National Guard would be called in under the guise of riot control. So what you said earlier is it really a confirmation of a Q post? It's a proof. It's a proof of a Q post because Q posted that that either the military or the National Guard would be brought in under the guise of riot control.
That makes
So
perfect sense to me from what
it
I've seen.
does. It seems like it just totally confirmed what you had
Dovetails
said
with what I'm seeing.
beginning in the middle of the program tonight.
Mhm.
So let's see. Let's just check one more time before we sign off because I know we're at the top of the hour. Okay, let's see. Mm, I know, I agree. If we were to know everything, our brain would just blow up. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's
Be a
true.
messy thing.
Yeah, I mean, we just need to know the important stuff, like why we're here, why we don't get to, make a free will choice when we're here to have a different reality, and it's like, unfortunately, I guess we have to all do it together, which is never going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with this earth, with the people, with the planet. A lot of, like you said, a lot of people are not even humans. So who the hell knows? But what we do know is we'll be back next Friday.
Yeah.
God willing, yes.
God willing, exactly. Let me just share your website real quick. If anybody is interested in a personal reading with Mark, you can do that. Hold on. He's got here you go. Here you are.
Mark
You can
Nelson.
go to this website right here, and I'll tell you what the URL is as soon as we get there. Yeah, you can go there. So this is marknelsonmedium.com. And you can go here and you can book appointments. I think you have several different kinds, and you have
Okay.
even like gifts. You can gift somebody a reading. So that's a
Yeah.
very nice gift. In fact, I always did that with Steve. I always gifted him readings all the time. It was just something that
That's
we
great.
were always talking about this stuff, which is why it was always it was such a natural fit to have you come on the program, Mark, and
Well, I feel
and
honored.
lovely
I'm glad
Barbara.
Barbara's here with me
And
too.
lovely Barbara too, exactly.
She's been with
So,
me through so much. And so,
mhm,
in any case, everyone, we'll be back next week. If you have
okay.
questions, bring them. And I also tell you this, I feel like this is our little chance to have, or a great chance to talk to some very enlightened people between Louisa, Barbara, and me. It's a most interesting evening, like an hour with people that have something that maybe you haven't heard of. And
Yeah.
we want to make this rewarding for everyone. So come on
That's
in.
right.
Oh, great. And who is this? Poppy? Poppy? Poppy is the name of someone who's in our chat. And I just want to thank you for joining us tonight. Come back next week. And same with Sunny and Heidi and everybody who's come back, who has been here. Yeah, last time we did a report, we had a very, very busy chat. Yeah, a lot going on there. And yeah, interesting. So we just hope that we'll be more regular, and then we'll be able to do this.
You're
But
welcome.
I would heed Mark's warnings for everybody. I would definitely get a plan in place and have some precautions, take precautions for unintended events that may happen. I think they are desperate, the deep
Right.
state and the Democrats, because especially because now that they've got Diddy, oh boy, what's going to come out? And the Bible tells us everything hidden, everything in the dark will come to light. So it's
Yeah.
all got to come out.
Yep. Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for viewing tonight. We'll see you all next Friday night. And for who knows what else is going to happen. But this is where you can go to soothe your soul. And that's really the purpose of Food for the Soul, is to come here and to find something uplifting. Even if we're talking about death, there's lots of uplifting things to talk about, like what Mark does, how Mark can communicate with our loved ones who have passed on and bring us those messages of comfort. And there's nothing more valuable than that. And some of us need that desperately for closure and to move on. Many people have questions about the passing of their loved ones or their pets. And this is how you get that comfort, that closure, and those answers. So I'm so thankful and privileged to have both Mark and Barbara come, because there's just such a dynamic duo. What a great team you guys are.
I
Hate to say
know.
that. But no, you are. You're beautiful. You're both beautiful. You're a beautiful couple, and I totally enjoy your energy and your contributions on the report. So we just have a good time. Today I'm a little bit off. I'm not really myself today. So hopefully next week I'll be a little bit more myself, although probably
Well, this version is
you
nice
probably
too.
didn't
Don't go
notice.
talking it down. Don't
You
talk
probably
her
didn't
down.
notice. No, you probably didn't notice, but we'll see everybody next week. Thanks so much for joining us, and this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.